welcome to Cooking with Alba, and today we're going to the land of Ghana where we make a lot of popular Kenkey meal or corn-based meal. So this is actually fermented corn which has been milled and which has been cooked, and this can stay for days even without you refrigerating or keeping it anywhere, which you just quickly have to enjoy with your proteins and your pepper sauce or your sauce, whichever one that goes for you. And this is very soft Kenkey, and I'm going to teach you how I make this in my leaves. So you begin by having your fermented corn, which is usually soaked in water for like 3 days, sent to the mill to grind it and make it smooth. I used yellow corn here because of the husk, and then there's other like extra nutritious benefits of it than the white corn. So I like to use that, and it it doubles well as well. So if you like it very soft, you have to divide the cornmeal into two. Then one part will go to the fire, which you have to have it in like a porridge form or like thick a bit. Yes, so that one has water in and salt in, which will go into the fire. Then you're going to cook this till it's cooked through. Yes, but it's not like it's going to be cooked, but once it forms into a dough, then you know you're actually good to go. And I cook this in the leaves as well. This leaves we use it for moi. This leaves we use it for virtually all your local baking. We serve wache in it and all those things. The trick here is that if you want it fair enough, not like peche soft, you can do one part. You can divide your corn into 3 parts so that you use one part for the cocoa part on your stove, like I'm doing, and then the other 2 parts will be the dry one you're actually going to put it in. Because if you do it half and half like this, you end up having very soft kind of Kenkey. The reality too is that if you're using yellow corn, it's going to double up. So unlike white corn, which doesn't double so much, yellow corn really doubles up so much. You need to be very much careful about it. And once I'm done cooking it on fire, I just let it sit down to cool down completely. Because if it's very hot, sweetheart, your hand will get burnt and your Kenkey to become extra like peche, like extra very soft and mushy in there. So I mixed it in with the dried ones in to also help it bind together. The essence of you cooking some of the dough before it goes into it is for the texture aspect, so that actually becomes binding for it. Because if it's just the dough without, like the flour without the dough, which you've kind of created right now, it's going to be very chaffy and some way to cook. So even with this, I had to add extra of the dried part in because I realized it was too soft, too mushy in there. So that's why I was prompting you that it's good to sometimes divide your cornmeal into 3 parts, or your corn dough, that's how we call it in Ghana. So corn dough into 3 parts, and then you use 1 part for the aflata or for the porridge or for the banku part you be doing on the stove, and then the other 2 parts will be for mixing it up. Now I cook this in the leaves because this leaves are also healthy. You can cook it in banana leaves, well, any leaf, yes. So this one I'm using the fresh kind of leaves, which is also super nutritious. It also adds the taste and the texture as well. All you need to know is how to wrap it, and it's very easy. So I use 2 leaves to actually wrap this. It goes into one, and then I close it up, and then I place it into the other. This is like my insurance, so that the butter doesn't end up going into the leaves. And because my leaves are not extraordinarily big to be able to wrap around it properly, that is why I do the double leaf kind of thing in there. And that also helps you because I'm going to cook this all together in 1 pan, and so I need to be able to really load it very well in there as well. So yes, once you're done packing all of them into the leaves, the next thing we're going to do is to cook it. And as for Kenkey, because it takes a lot of time, it's always great when you do it on your coal pot or your firewood or something. So I heated my cauldron, my dad is saying, or my pot. Then I placed a little water in to be sure that it was very hot enough. Then I just had some leaves in the base. Then I arranged it onto it. The leaves in the base helps you so that when you cook, and sometimes as the water drains off or as the water goes away, if it starts to burn, then you won't really have so much trouble in there. And I used hot water to start because this particular day, I was doing this in the evening and I didn't have so much time on my side. So when I was done, I placed napkin over it to trap the heat in properly because yes, my dad is saying it's still it will still have some air kind of gipping out in there. And the leaves on top also helps trap the heat within, because the whole thing about Kenkey is about heat. Yes. And once the water goes down for the first one, you'd have to check, and by that time it won't be really cooked. So you'd have to put a second batch of water onto it. You don't need to pour so much water all over it and then it'll be oozing out or boiling into the fire. It's not necessary. So I think I did this twice, yes. And because my Kenkey was already softly molded and stuff, that wasn't so much of a problem. And by the time I could say Jack, that was like about 5 hours in the cooking. It was well done. The water was all drained down. It cooled down perfectly. Because I was using coal pot, you know, coal pots, once the fire and things goes down, it begins to naturally like cool out as well. And this was the end result of my Kenkey. I took them out and then I drained, virtually the water had even dried out, yes. And that's why you really need the leaves in there, because if you don't put the leaves in there, what's going to happen is that if your water dries out and you don't like check on it early, your Kenkey is going to be bent. Yes, so just imagine if my Kenkey was all bent. So yes, this is a beautiful Kenkey right there, very healthy, very nutritious, very easy to replicate. This is something you can easily do at home, and you can use this for your mashke. You can eat this with your any protein that you kind of like in there. So yes, so I see the next food video. Please subscribe, like, share, educate with someone, share with someone, share the knowledge, share the love, support us with your subscription, likes, and comment as well. So till I see the next food video, as always, live life to the fullest, be joyous, be merry, and lots of love for my team and I. Wow.